Tutubain is Arto Saari and you're watching Black Media.
Could you sing Finnish too?
Yeah. Minun nimi on Arto Saari ja sinä katsot Black Media.
Yeah, much cooler, right?
No way. Yeah, well, I grew up in Finland, skateboarding over there, obviously, and did a bunch of contests in Finland and kind of got recognized over there. And in order for me to get to US and move over there, I did a bunch of contests in Europe, and that's, at the time, I feel like there wasn't that many people coming up in skateboarding, a bunch of young kids skating, so I got picked out of the crowd. Like, I went to Lausanne, Münster, Copenhagen, Montpellier. I did all the contests in 3 weeks. And I kept seeing the same faces over and over again, and all the U.S. board companies were there, and a lot of them asked me like, "Hey, come over and write for us in U.S. Come over there on a trip and see if you can make it, basically." And that's what I did. I got a plane ticket to go over there for 3 months, and just went out there and skated and tried to make it happen. And I'm basically still on that trip. That was 18 years ago. That was 1998. It was all those contests, and I wanted to follow the sun in the skate spots. That was like my MO. That was my main goal. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I grew up in Finland. I was there for 17 years, and now I've been in America for 17 years. My whole adult life, I've grown up in America. So yeah, for sure, I feel pretty American at this point. I'm probably more American than I'm Finnish at the moment. Whether I like to admit it or not, that's a whole different thing. Yes, I mean, I've gotten really lucky to be part of some of the best teams for sure in skateboarding, and I don't know how that happened. I got my whole career in skateboarding. I've been really lucky to be surrounded by the right people and guided by the right people, and just kind of being part of the right teams at the right times. But I mean, it's hard to say when you're in it and doing it, like what's great and what's not. Like you're just out there doing it, you're out there trying to do your best. But now, like looking at Sorry and Menikmati, like yeah, they were probably pretty influential videos, and it seems like they stand the time in history, Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling about it, like, working with French Fred when he was doing the Menikmati and Sorry, was obviously like he was trying to do the best skate video possible, and the guys filming parts were trying to do the best possible parts that they could do. So that combination had a huge influence, and I think that's why those videos are what they are, because the way Fred's relationship worked with the riders and stuff. And the same thing with Greg Hunt doing Minefield, Like both those dudes push the limits of making skate videos, and they've got to work with some of the great riders. You can't have one without the other. You kind of have to have both in order to make a great skate video. I mean, at the time, like skating with Ed and Jeff a lot in the early days in Huntington when that was going on, like that's all they did. They didn't drink, they weren't into partying, they were into skateboarding and shooting photos and stacking clips. Like that's all they did. And luckily I got to hang out with them and just kind of learn from them and go with the flow, like how to do this whole professional skateboarding thing. So it definitely had a huge influence on me in the early days. It definitely set a good base, and work ethic. And obviously they already knew, like Ed and Jeff already knew all the skate photographers, all the filmers from all the magazines and everything. So it's like, okay, you need to link up with so-and-so to do this. And pretty soon I was introduced to all the photographers, and knowing that part of the business is, it's huge. Yeah, I just walked, it was all laid out. I just walked into it and jumped in. So all I had to do was just skate, I mean, for sure, early days, like skating with Rodrigo on S and stuff, that was some amazing times. And Bob, obviously, like going out with Bob. I mean, I remember going street skating with Bob, and he's nose grinding this 13 stair rail. When we were filming for Menikmati, it was like, what the hell, It was crazy, you know. That was like he was skating more street back then and stuff. Like he'd come on a street missions. It was so rad.
Many people don't know now these days about his skate.
Yeah, I mean he could skate. I mean he could still probably do it, you know. He doesn't need to, but he was fully like he was just fully. I just remember I didn't skate that rail that day. I was like, really? Like you want to skate that thing? Like there's so many better rails. Like I ain't skating that. And he's just jumping down, doing nose grinds down it. But yeah, Rodrigo. I mean, I'd say probably Rodrigo and Bob have had the biggest influence on me as far as Brazilian skaters. I mean, there's so many. I mean, we went to the park yesterday, and every kid is so good in there. You know, there's so many good kids just ripping around the park. It's like, should we have the kids do the demo, or are we skating? Like, what do we need to do here? You know, should we just sit down and just watch them skate? Yeah, no, JP's great. Yeah, it's been such a nice thing to have JP and Pedro on tour with us. It just made everything so much easier. I mean, we'd be totally lost without him. Pedro's a super solid dude and incredible skateboarder, you know.
And photographer too.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, and I was tripping on his Instagram. I was kind of going through it. It's like, wait, is he posting some photographer shots, or is he doing it? I couldn't figure it out. It's like, wait, I was trying to look at the tags. I'm like, well, he ain't tagging anyone in him. It's like, these must be his shots. Like, he's got a sick style. Like, he's a good street photographer.
Yeah, you could be BFFs with him.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess it helps out, like, kind of knowing through, like, going through the motions and knowing what the rider's going through, like, what it takes to do a trick. So having that understanding, kind of like when to push someone to do something and when to pull back and be like, all right, let's come back another day and whatever, do that. It's like, it's a working relationship with the skater to, like, it's a push and pull. Like, and sometimes the skateboarder, knowing from my own experience, like, it helps if the filmer and the photographer are into it and they push you and they want you to do it and they know what to say, when to say it, you know? So it's a very important relationship, you know? Photography is definitely starting to take more of my time these days, you know? My body can only handle so much of skateboarding in 1 week. I have a couple of sessions a week, and that's, you know, that's about the extent of it. Yeah, I have a pool in my backyard, so people come over there and skate. I've been skating a lot of transition, skating a lot of that kind of stuff, just having fun. This is actually some of the funnest time I've had in skateboarding is right now. I mean, I keep going back to my Leica M240. That's kind of my personal work and what I've been shooting with my all-day, everyday camera. But then a lot of bigger jobs, or when I have to shoot a lot of frames a day, I use Canon stuff. Or like skate photos or shooting with flashes or whatever, I'll use the Canon 5DS and Canon 1DX too. This trip I'm shooting all natural light, so I just basically have the Canon DX. What is it, 1DX2, whatever, the big body, and then 70-200, 24-70, and a fisheye that hasn't come out of the bag yet. So it's just me shooting with, and the Leicas. I have two Leicas with me. This one's more for skating. We don't have another photographer. Usually on NB trips we bring another photographer, so I don't have to worry about it. But it was so last minute and everything, we didn't bring another photographer, so I'm kind of shooting and skating, kind of doing a little bit of both, which is kind of a pain in the ass, to tell you the truth. If I shoot photos, I just like to shoot photos. If I skate, I like to just skate. You know, sometimes it's hard to go back and forth. It's like, okay, you start skating, someone tries a trick, like, okay, sit down, shoot the photo. You know, it's just, you know, it's a different mindset up. So nowadays, I just rather do one or the other. I mean, it all kinds of depends what the use is. Like, is it fine art? Is it commercial? Is it editorial? You know, like it all kind of depends where it's going. You know what I mean? And then obviously, like, whether it has historical value or not, you don't really know at the time. Like, you might have an idea. When you shoot something good and you know it's good, it's like, okay, this is, you know, this might stand the time, you know, this might be remembered. But that's hard to say until later on, usually when the picture's lived a little bit, and, you know, but I mean, commercial work, monetary-wise, tends to be the expensive stuff, you know, what you use is for commercials, and then editorial stuff is like magazines don't have money to pay for photos, so that's editorial work. You know, you do editorial work almost for free or for nothing for magazines and different things, and then that's how you get the commercial jobs. Yeah, I mean, I was a little skeptical at first if it was going to happen. You know, well, the thing is, the airport didn't close down. We just kind of went in there and skated in the middle of everything happening, you know? We had like little quiet zones where we would skate and stuff, but the airport was fully functional throughout the whole time. They didn't shut it down. And I don't think they really even slowed down. We just kind of got slumped in there and moved around it. So there's a lot of moving pieces and stuff, and it was pretty interesting. You're going skating, but you're going through metal detectors, taking all of your shit out of your pockets, and cameras and everything. You put them on the belt, like you're checking in, going through security, and then you get on the other side, you grab your board, and you start rolling. I was definitely tripping on that. But how that came together is this. It was my friends who have a production company back home called Pablo Films, and then it was a ad agency and Finnair's been their client a long time, so it came through the agency, the video production company got hired to do it, and we all kind of worked together and brainstormed it. But the idea came from outside, because I would have never even thought about it as like, hey, let's skate in an airport, because I just thought that was off limits. You know what I mean? There was a lot of preparation for a 2-day shoot. There's a whole 8 months of legwork just to get it done. I mean, every company seems to have its day. There's a moment when a company is at the top. And it's fairly easy to make it there, but to stay there is the hardest part. And every company seems to have its day. When a company goes under and kind of restarts, it's never really the same. You know what I mean? Not really a lot of the original people were involved. Restarting the Alien it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's not the Alien workshop that I knew. You know what I mean? And I think people see that it's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we're pretty close. I mean, I met Dylan when I was, in 2003, 2004, I started writing for Quicksilver. So Dylan must have been 13 at the time, 13, 14. And then, he was kind of under Oblo's, umbrella. Oblo was kind of his dad, basically. And he grew up with him. And I became really close with Oblo when he was running the Quicksilver team. And then eventually we left from Quicksilver and we did Analog and Gravis. So we spend more and more time together. But whether it was business or family, it's, we were pretty close. We were pretty close. And if it wasn't for Dylan, I wouldn't never met my wife or have a daughter that I have now. Because I met my wife through him and Oblo. So it was more than just a working relationship. Like, we were pretty close. We're pretty close family. So I owe him big time for that. But yeah, he's always been like family. It was like losing a brother, basically. I mean, yeah, you got to pay to play for sure. So I gotten injured a couple of times. Whether it's serious or not, I guess it's up to the viewer to decide that. But yeah, I've had quite a few knee surgeries. I've had I think six knee surgeries on my left one, 3 massive reconstructions and 3 smaller ones, like cleanups. So that's being kind of the pain of my existence, is knee surgeries. That's you know, mostly affected my skating for sure. I mean, I've gotten knocked out a couple of times here and there, you know, hit my head, but that's, you kind of I've bounced back from those pretty good. I probably have some brain damage too. You know, I wouldn't put it past it. Oh shit, we gotta go.
Black Media.
Já tá com os bagulhos do tinha tudo certo.
Hã?
Não tinha? Tá melhor que esse LED?
Tá tudo isso aqui ou não?
Tá.
Esse?